Hey, it's live. It's alive. It's another Monday Hangout, Google Hangout, broadcasting on gun channels from the Pineapple Pentagon and the Big Lion, Big Island, the biggest rock in the Pacific Ocean, not counting continents, and one of the most active volcanoes. And tonight's incredibly awesome topic is how to fight an alien invasion from outer space. So
I'm glad you clarified outer space, because some people might think we were talking about being down at the border.
Yeah, so there's your warning siren. We've had an alien invasion from outer space topic come up. So the first thing to consider is why they would pick how they would hear about planet Earth. So it's a very big universe, and there's a pretty good probability that somewhere out there is some form of intelligent life besides just us somewhere. And now, since the 1920s, the Earth has been broadcasting radio and television, news and information. And now, I don't know how many people out there, for some reason, that our Google external chat seems not to be working right now on YouTube, but we are on gunchannels.com/HVS. We have a text chat there you can participate in. But the thing is, does anybody out there, maybe on the gun channel side, know what the speed at which radio waves travel? Because this will be important. Just take a quick look over there, see if anybody knows that. See a few people out there, Moonfu, Jimmy James. Well, the answer to that is radio waves, electromagnetic energy travels at the speed of light, which is 300 million meters per second. So since the 1920s, that means that we have been broadcasting information about us humans, the news, where we are, what we're doing, and it has traveled since the 1920s approximately 110 million light years in every direction. So all any alien species has to do is tune in and listen, and they will know where our capital cities are, who our leaders are, depending on how current they will be with our society will be depending on how far away they are listening, for the radio waves and television waves to travel there from here to there at the speed of light. So we have been broadcasting throughout the universe. I mean, not me personally, but Earth people, giving away all our operational security details to aliens, and we've even sent out probes to, like Voyager, with all kinds of information about where we are, and, in many languages, on discs, and just information. And which brings us to, what would an alien invasion look like, and how would you fight it? So the first thing is that, we have to think about, well, what would humans do if we wanted to colonize Mars? Well, look at what we've done already. We've sent robots, to check out the soil, land on Mars. They've landed, so, one question that I want somebody to ask Donald Trump is, are there aliens in Area 51 or not? That might be an interesting, question to ask at a news conference. But in any event, if, it's just easier to send robots out to another planet, to colonize it, than people, we haven't sent any people. So the aliens might not even bother to, do anything but send a robot. But the thing is that their technology that, if this Earth has been around for 1 billion years, the universe is a pretty big place, and they could be like 7 billion years advanced. They could have been around for 7 billion years before humans even evolved. So their technology would be exponentially more advanced, than humans. So they might not even bother to come here. But if we have some resource they want, they might send out a probe, and if they find something they like, if they want to mine iron ore or tungsten carbide or uranium ore or something, from the planet Earth, then they might do what humans would do. I mean, if anybody saw Aliens, we sent out terraforming. The corporation sent out the terraforming unit and had colonists, but they might just send terraforming units, and before they risk their expensive terraforming machinery, they would probably try to eradicate the humans and infestation of this planet, because if anybody had remember Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan, when they had the Genesis project, the scientists insisted that you could not use the Genesis wave, initiate the Genesis wave, unless it was on a completely lifeless planet, because they didn't want to ethically, kill some other form of life which could evolve into sentience. So they insisted on completely lifeless planets. So that was why they had starships looking for completely lifeless potential targets for the Genesis torpedo, and to initiate the Genesis wave, and but the aliens, if we wanted to colonize Mars, we probably wouldn't check to see if there was, some life that was native to Mars that we haven't discovered yet, as well as thoroughly as they did, as the Starfleet did in The Wrath of Khan. But so if the aliens wanted to colonize Earth, they could send a robot army, to just some robots to do it. And then, and so what the attack might look like is, if they get information from our, radio waves, that they might be able to determine where our capital cities are, and, take out the military, or decapitate it at least, by, having their robots, bomb major metropolitan cities like Washington, D.C., or New York, or Moscow, or Paris, or London from outer space. And then they put forward on this one show, the History Channel, the possibility of that they would use biological warfare to eliminate most of the humans, and before they sent down their terraforming units. And the way they posited this happening is they use as an example how a mushroom fungus grows, specifically one called cordyceps, which sometimes is sold in health food stores, but how cordyceps actually evolve in the wild when they're not harvested by people who are trying to just grow them artificially for profit, is they're carried by ants. These fungus infect ants, and ants get this fungus inside them, and they have this. The fungus causes this urge for them to climb up as high as they possibly can, for some reason, and so they climb up whatever plant they are near, and they climb up to the top, and then they just grab onto the leaf, and then the fungus kills them, and so then the fungus grows inside them, and then the mushroom kind of grows out of the dead ant, and then it releases spores. So the spores, float through the air until they latch onto another ant, and the whole thing happens over again. So they were thinking that there would be some kind of biological attack like this from outer space, that the aliens would, drop on major metropolitan areas, some kind of biological delivery system to deliver some kind of fungus that would work like that on humans. And there would be spores in the air, and even if you didn't get hit by the first attack of the biological weapons, that there would be spores in the air, and eventually they could, through a biological warfare, eliminate the humans from like the 7 billion people that are on the planet now to like down to 1 million or 2. And then that would be relatively easy for the aliens robot army to manage. And then they would just send down the terraforming units to finish us off, which would basically was like, if we wanted to make Mars habitable for humans, we would have to, change the atmosphere to, oxygen, nitrogen, and helium so we could breathe, right? And so that's what they would do. Whatever the aliens breathe, whatever, they would just send down some terraforming machines that would, land from outer space and then just start changing the atmosphere that would make it something into something that the aliens could breathe wherever they are. And then obviously there would be no air, and all the rest of the humans would die because there would be no air. So it would be critical to take out the alien terraforming units immediately with some kind of explosive. But the problem where you would have is that the alien technology could be exponentially. If they have enough technology to go from planet to planet or send a robot, colonization invasion force, from wherever they are to other planets, then their technology is just going to be exponentially way ahead of where we are. So all that comes into it, but I think the first thing you would need, it would be, some way to survive a biological attack, which means gas masks, biological suits, so because you have to get, you can't let the spores land on you and infect you, because there'll be a lot of, fighting, if people get infected, the hospital system will immediately become overwhelmed, especially if there's attack, by, on the major cities that, take out the internet. There's like the internet hubs, like in New York that, just a few, or an EMP attack even, Kim Jong-il may not have or Kim Jong-un or whatever his name is in North Korea may not have a re-entry vehicle yet, but he could blow up a nuke in space over the mainland, which would just, wipe out, any kind of internet, nobody's cars would work. There wouldn't be any, the electrical grid would go down. I mean, a grid down situation, and no banking transactions, no credit cards, no anything, no computers, no internet, no nothing, and so there's a lot to think about as far as how you would prepare for this. Obviously, the first thing after the aliens attack the major capital cities would be they'd take out satellite communications and, the internet. So they start shooting down satellites, communication satellites, military satellites, stuff like that. And anyway, so as far as how to fight off an alien invasion, first you have to have, defensive gear to survive a biological attack, which they might do. They might have already visited, for all we know, just to take soil samples and stuff like we did on Mars. We've sent I forgot the name of the specific craft we sent to Mars, but so, and I apologize again for the live stream on chat. It says chat disabled, for the live stream on, and I don't know why. So, it's Google messing with us. Anyway, now basically, as far as taking out terraforming units, they're going to be big, so you're going to need a lot of explosives to take down some huge alien machine that changes the nature of the atmosphere on the planet, which is basically what when they did on aliens. It was like the Space Corporation that sent the colonists to that LVM 346 was it was basically a terraforming operation. The terraforming units that were manufactured by a corporation. So, and it's just interesting because if the aliens, just do like what we do, then they, it would just be business. They would be, they could be exterminating the planet Earth just for business reasons, and nothing personal. They're just going to kill everybody and take over because they want tungsten ore or something, or iron ore or uranium ore or something. That's some resource that the Earth has, and they could just terraform the planet, and then we wouldn't have any oxygen to breathe. At least, they'd make it for aliens. So they might not even land and give us anything to shoot at except robots, and their technology may be, too hard to fight if they're, exponentially, several billion years ahead of us. It could just be that simple. So I think the main thing you have to be is out of a major metropolitan area. When the alien invasion comes, you probably won't get much warning. So, if you're in a metropolitan area, you'd be in a target zone for their first munitions, especially if you're in a capital city, because that would be their first target, to decapitate the command and control system, of the humans. But if the aliens themselves land, that would at least give you something to shoot at. Whether or not firearms would be of any use. We were talking, I think, in the last night's lobby about the new aircraft carrier has the Gerald Ford class carrier is working on. They have 2 nuclear reactors and power free electron laser, which and they're also, I've seen something that the military is working on, like C-130 gunships, instead of having a Gatling gun, where they shoot down, like what was called Puff the Magic Dragon, those shoot down Gatling gun from, a cargo plane. They were going to try and get one of these lasers on a plane, but the people were talking about heat dissipation not being able to work and the amount of energy required to actually operate one of those free electron lasers would not be available to put on a plane. And so I don't know if that's going to happen, but the aircraft carrier will have enough energy because it's got 2 nuclear power plants, Bechtel power plants, providing 300, I think, megawatts each. So, and I'm not sure exactly when the Gerald Ford is going to deploy, but it's a new class, and I think they cost $10 billion each, and we're going to build like 10 of them, So, and obviously, if we have, submarines, at sea with, Trident missiles, if they start launching, missiles at the aliens, then the aliens will fight back, and target who's ever shooting at them. But, I think the main thing you have to do is bug out. It's all the normal prepping stuff, except maybe with some biological defense, biohazard suit and gas mask with plenty of filters. I did get a new gas mask. It has arrived. My U.S. military gas mask. I need to buy more filters soon. I did complete my review on haven't posted it yet. I have to finish the editing on my some range time on my Camelback Mule. Basically, the conclusions were the only problem I had with it was the straps and especially if you have the hydration tube, it can interfere with your shoulder weld of your rifle against your shoulder. So if you have a moment, before you have to start shooting back, then drop your hydration pack. It's got little buckles that you can just press and the straps come off, but you should really take it off if you're going to if you have a moment to do it, before you have to start shooting back, if you're under fire, because it interferes with your shoulder weld of your rifle if you're standing up and shooting. When I was shooting from the bench with my CZ, I didn't have any problems because I was just you're leaning down and kind of at a different angle. So, but standing up and shooting, the straps get in the way. And when I tried to take it off, I noticed that the waistband buckle kind of got hung up on gear that I had on my belt. Like it got hung up on my IFAK kit and my roly-poly Maxpedition my brain isn't working. A dump bag, basically, and so it was like I dropped the straps. The straps came off easy, and so I could run and gun with my AK. But the back part of it, the waistband got caught up on some stuff on my belt. So that might be an issue. You might not want to even use the waistband and just keep it out of the way. You don't really need it, I mean, unless you're doing a lot of running, and it might make a lot of noise if you don't have it tied down. But I didn't have any problems. It was really light. It worked great. The only problem I had was having a shoulder weld with it. But anyway, you will need a hydration source and a way to clean water if there's a biochemical attack, and the grid goes down. It's, having all the normal prepping stuff, food and water, and not being in a, target area and bugging out to the country. And who knows where the terraforming units would land, but you would have to take those out. If they got to the point where they defeated the military and they started sending down terraforming units to change the atmosphere, you would have to destroy those immediately with whatever explosives you could get your hands on, or figure out how to take them out. And as far as setting up ambushes of aliens, they could just send down Terminator units, and it could be, we could activate, the DARPA has been developing Terminators, and robots, fighting robots. Right now the whole thing is, it's like they don't want robots making the decision over killing humans. But if we were being invaded from outer space, we, could set the robots to destroy, our robots to fight their robots. But we would probably lose that because their robots are probably going to be technologically more advanced if they can go from planet to planet and, with colonization plans. And this Earth probably wouldn't be the first planet they would have colonized. So they would have probably done that kind of thing before, and we would just be trying to fight them off, or their robot army. So it could be pretty grim. It could be pretty grim because, if the population goes from 7 billion to 7 million in a short time, then your odds aren't too good of being one of the survivors and somehow managing to fight off the aliens. But so I did ask Squib if he knew how to, if you could talk about how to set up a ambush, to describe how to set up a L-shaped ambush, or give us any Marine experience or a V-shaped ambush, or anyway, if there's like a column of alien robots, headed into the area where you are patrolling, how would you set up an ambush?
Well, the ambush relies a lot on terrain. If you don't have enough cover, your ambush is going to be ineffective. You could set up an ambush out in the open if it was in the dark, but with these aliens, they're going to have night vision and thermal imaging and all that. It's going to be awful hard to do. So you need to utilize the landscape around you, or the buildings, or anything like that. It's all about staying quiet, staying still, and staying concealed. Mostly just staying concealed. So if you can't set up an ambush, you also need the element of surprise. They have to. They might be have their weapons at the ready, but they have to. It's best to do it in a place where they don't think you're going to be. Kind of like in Heartbreak Ridge, where they were supposed to have a staged ambush, and instead they ambushed them before they got there. So they had the element of surprise, but really it's going to depend a lot on the terrain. If we're fighting aliens and they've got sensors that can just detect us, you're probably going to be better off having something long range and hoping to get a good shot in, I would think. And if they send robots, I'm willing to fight robots.
Okay, you're willing to fight. That's important. When I was watching Red Dawn, there was that one scene that was out in an open field where they got, somebody to chase, they got a bunch of Russians to chase a girl into the field, and they were just, in holes in the ground, camouflage and just in holes in the ground. So, they didn't see him. And, you give them a rabbit for them to
They
chase.
didn't expect him there. Yeah. They were fixated on her. They didn't expect anybody to be hiding in the ground. and they had them fooled. So yeah, if the enemy feels safe, they're going to be a little bit more complacent. When they're a little bit more complacent, they're not looking for you, and then it makes it easier to conceal yourself. So really the best thing to do is to have a good idea of where your enemy is going to be, and find something in that area to conceal yourself, whether it be a building or a bunch of broken down, blown up buildings or something, craters, trees, rocks, anything that you can, or the cover of darkness. But I mean, cover of darkness is just that's out the window at this point. Even with our technology, if the terrorists have got night vision goggles, darkness ain't going to help.
Yeah, night vision has been on my list. Somebody was at the range yesterday. They had actually a night vision scope, but we didn't stay into the night. So it looked kind of a little bit grainy because his night vision was at 1080, but his scope, his viewing thing was at 780 or something. So it was like, it kind of looked a little like looking through a watery lens or something. But I didn't get to use his night vision at night. It was like an $800 scope, and as basically in Hawaii, night hunting isn't legal. So yeah, you could buy a scope, as long as you do any hunting with it. But it's definitely on my list of to do things. But I think for now, I'm just going to try and get some more filters for my new gas mask.
Well, I think for the alien invasion scenario, you have to imply that they want something on the surface. They want it bad enough that they're not going to bombard the planet from orbit, and then just after everything's wiped out, just go in and take the water and mine for all the metal and leave. They either want to colonize, or they need humans for something, slave labor, food, whatever, or they need the surface of the planet to be habitable, so they don't want to contaminate it. So if they used any nuclear, biological, chemical type warfare, they're making it bad for themselves.
Well, if it's bad, they could devise something that would kill humans, but not themselves. But
that's true. But it could also go the other way around. I mean, we might be able to devise something to kill them. If we manage to capture one of them and experiment on them, we might be able to devise something. Another thing too is if after they sent their robots, they came down themselves, and we figured out some of their weaknesses. Maybe they don't like light. Maybe they don't like heat. Maybe they don't like cold. Maybe they're allergic to something. Maybe it's just something that either throws them off, or that could potentially kill them or knock them out or something. If we could figure that out, that would be a tool that we could use to give us an advantage when we're limited by our technology, right?
Yeah, but we won't have a lot of time, because I'm assuming they're gonna, the attack is gonna be, decapitate the military leadership first, and then by taking out, destroying the capitals, so there won't be very much leadership, and then start eliminating humans en masse in metropolitan areas, and with some kind of warfare, and then when they get to terraforming, change the atmosphere, that would take out any survivors. So as far as how to fight them,
the atmosphere.
Oh yeah,
it would take a while for So I would say then we start sabotaging their
terraforming units.
Calling on aliens, atmospheric something or other, atmospheric processor. We start sabotaging their atmospheric processors.
Yeah, but those are the ones that they sent were run by nuclear reactors. So when they went in and started shooting armor-piercing rounds to fight aliens into their reactor, that wound up nuking the whole thing, blew up and nuked the whole planet. So which was what they were going to do anyway to the aliens, because it was the only way to be sure. And we don't even know if their ships could fight, if our nuclear weapons would be effective, or nuclear missiles would be effective. against their, ships in outer space.
Like in War of the Worlds when they dropped the atom bomb and the shield protected the alien.
They might have shields.
Or
that aircraft carrier that we're building is going to have some kind of dynamic armor. That I didn't click on it last night, but we were talking about the dynamic armor. It would have the free electron lasers and the Ford, the Gerald USS Gerald Ford, which is being built at Newport News on the East Coast shipbuilding factory, and it has some kind of dynamic armor that I'm really not sure what it is, but it was interesting. I don't know if it's going to be like shields, like the aliens might have shields technology, but I just think that basically the main thing we need is some form of biochem protection, all your standard prepping stuff, a bug out plan to get the hell out of the cities as soon as possible, and then we just have to wait for something to shoot at. That as a civilian you could fight, because I don't think the aliens are going to give you much of a chance to take pot shots at them. So if you're in an area where the aliens have something are operating, then you would at least have a chance to shoot back.
I think after I shot the first one, I'd be like Schwarzenegger in Predator. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Well, if you can get it to bleed, if they all have shields, then you're gonna have to do more than just make them bleed. You're gonna have to figure out something else. Setting up traps, ambushes. Basically, I mean, my understanding of L-shaped ambushes is you kind of have is basically you have a shape like an L, a blocking force and a line of shooters on the side. And there was, I think, Attack Data had a video with one of these IDF guys that sells red dots, and Mikey Hartman, and he was basically saying, this is how we do ambushes in Israel, and he says 1, 2, 3, fire. Everybody fires one shot, takes down their target, and then that's it. So they can't be located, But I assume in actual combat, people fire more than one shot, and they don't always take down their target on the first shot. But he's like the marksmanship trainer.
The way I was shown to do it, and that's not the only way to do it, but the way I was shown to do it is we'll put our machine gun or squad automatic weapon in the middle of where we have the ambush staged. We'll get the enemy to pass through, and when they're not quite all the way through the ambush, say they're pretty much, I don't want to say parallel with the ambush, but you don't take out the point guy and then they all turn around and run away, and you don't shoot at the guy at the end and everybody in the front takes off in the direction they're heading. You kind of wait until they're right there in the middle, and if you've got your machine gun or machine guns or squad automatic weapons in the middle, they can inflict the most damage. You can also throw grenades. You're talking about a 5-meter blast radius with a concussion grenade. So,
well, most people don't have grenades. All we have is like binary explosives that civilians can get legally. So
think of it like this. If the military was taken down, I don't think the military bases would be entirely vaporized. There would be people that would be scavenging these military bases to get a hold of any leftovers. Now, if you got into the ammo dump, if the ammo dump wasn't compromised, those doors on those bunkers are their vaults. I mean, it's not something you can just easily open. But if they maybe took a strike on an ammo dump, and they damaged it, but these things are underground, they're protected and stuff like that. If they damage the door and you were able to get in, you might get your hands on it. You might not have a weapon system to employ it. You might get a ton of 20-millimeter rounds. You go, great, I don't have a cannon I can fire this out of. But there's also small arms in there, so you never know what you'll come across. And I mean, the military's got tons and tons of explosives.
I bet.
Got millions upon millions of grenades all over the place. So
yeah, and just because they take out decapitate it and take out some military bases and something, there'll still be units around the country that are still fighting. as long as they can.
Most of the ordnance,
But the-
you know, whether it's for the aircraft, for the ships, or it's small that units would use, you know, the small arms stuff, that stuff's locked up. It's locked up and it's locked down. There's very little of it that's out in the open. So if they struck quickly and they didn't have time to issue the stuff to the troops, or even if they did, there's still plenty of it in the ammo dumps on all these military installations. And I mean, some of these places have got small storage, and some places have got huge storage.
But I mean, the military isn't just going to let every civilian come in if there's still guards on the base. You know, I mean, they're going to be just all right. All humans, here's take all the guns. They're going to be just distributing guns to everybody, are they? You know,
let me tell you something. If I was trying to get onto the nearest military base to try to get my hands on some better weaponry, and there were a handful of Air National Guardsmen there guarding the ammo dump, and they were like, "Sir, you can't come through here." It'd be like, "Well, then you're going to have to shoot me, because I'm not going to sit here and, you know, let this happen where you guys stand here and guard this ammo. I'm going in there to get me something to fight these guys." And those guys would have to think to themselves, "Do I really want to kill this guy?" Or, you know, I mean, when you're talking about a dog-eat-dog situation. So, I mean, I understand they have orders, and especially if you've got, if you got younger guys, they're going to be more inclined to follow their orders. But I mean, I would just look them right in the eye and be like, "You're going to have to shoot me, because I'm getting in there to get something. It ain't to fight you. It's to fight these lizard people or whatever."
Okay. So it's weird with this chat talking to like an alien picture on the screen, but anyway. All right. So be nice to your local military base, so that, you know, if the aliens invade, they might, you know, give you a, you know, full auto squad automatic weapon kind of deal, and or a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher or something to shoot at aliens that'll do some good. Besides, because if it was me, I would have to have them walk into like a field where I set up a bunch of, you know, binary explosives with BBs, you know, taped to the front of them as home built Claymore mines, and try and take out these aliens, with explosives and anything else I could use, you know, improvised explosive devices basically. And, you know, legally you can buy, you know, binary powder stuff for exploding targets at most any gun shop in most all the states that are perfectly legal to use. I mean, be safe with them, you know, don't do anything stupid, you know, just because it's dangerous stuff, you know. I gotta do a chat about range safety soon too, but and just general safety with firearms, because I just think everybody needs to be always aware of when you're at the range, you know, look down range, you know, follow. I mean, safe when it comes to firearms and explosives. Even if there's an alien invasion, you know, be safe with your, you know, be really safe when it comes to, you know, our very powerful, but, you know, maybe technologically backward compared to the aliens' weapons. So who knows what they're going to have? They may have handheld, you know, lasers and shit that we, you know, so.
If any of the aliens' equipment or any of the bases they've set up or any of the operations they've set up are susceptible to fire, I would say use gasoline and start some of their stuff on fire. You could also use it not just to damage their stuff or slow them down or make it more work for them. You could use the fire to set an ambush. You set fire to something and all of them come running to put out the fire, and you're already set with your weapon zeroed in on that area, and you just chop them to pieces, and they're all together in a kill box. So you could have a dual purpose, you know, by using something as simple as gasoline and some matches.
I think the thing would be to figure out where their weapons depot is and get a hold of their weapons, you know, and because you know, be the first kid on your block to have a alien, you know, whatever rifle they're using, you know, whether it fires some kind of energy particle beam or whatever. And then you'd be able to really fuck some shit up. So, you know, I think it'd be to a large extent, yeah, you know, recon and all the basic military stuff, you know, that you know, skills, you know, to try and figure out where they are and steal their stuff, and then use it against them after you figure out how to use it.
Another thing you could do is try to wear them down. If they were in a prolonged military campaign to take over the planet, at a certain point, they might just say, forget it. It isn't worth it. On the other hand, at that point, once they get into orbit, they might just bombard us and wipe us out. But, but I mean, if you just kept it going, you just had this war of attrition against them, and they were just, after a while, they said, forget it. You might get rid of them, but
well, I think
come back to bite you.
I think that, you can't really, civilians can't fight, orbiting spacecraft, but, if they come down here, then, we can try and kick them off the fucking planet, using every dirty trick in the book, and you could set up traps, like, set up pit traps, where, I mean, even an alien will be subject to the forces of gravity, I think, if you dig a deep enough pit with enough spikes in the bottom, them or their robots will fall into him, and then just throw down some explosives, or fill it with mud or something that'll drown them, or whatever, or throw in gasoline on them and set them on fire. Then you could experiment when they're down in the pit. You could see how the best way to kill them is. Let's see if fire works on them. No, okay. Let's see if we throw down some rat poison on them and see if that worked. No, let's try, throwing some water and hook up some voltage into the water and see if we can electrocute them. No, okay, let's try something else. We figure out what kills them. But like you said, experiment on them.
At that point, the alien saying, no, this is a big misunderstanding. Please.
No, this is our planet, man. Locals only. No aliens. But so yeah, as far as fighting xenomorphs, I don't have much experience beside the movies. And I know that there are some companies that are actually building like one of those pulse rifles, and what was the one we were talking about last week, the XM56 or whatever it is, automatic. The main problem is that it weighed a lot, but it was like the squad automatic rifle that Drake and Vasquez were using. And Vasquez, by the way, the actor that played Vasquez, the butch Latina Chola chick, she wasn't really Latino. She was, I think her name was like Goldstein or something, the actress that played her. But she studied to try and do a very good job in that role, and I think she did. But she wasn't really Latino.
She was in two other Cameron flicks.
Yeah, but she's one of the favorite characters of everybody from that movie. For some reason, I don't know why.
She was in Terminator 2 and Titanic.
I didn't remember her from Titanic.
Yeah, she was a third-class passenger. Something about when she showed up for the audition, she was wearing high heels and a dress because she thought Aliens was the name of a movie about illegal aliens. And I think that's how that joke got slipped in the movie, where Hudson says, when somebody said aliens, she thought illegal aliens signed up, and she said, give me a break.
Well, it was really interesting.
They might ad-lib that part.
I watched, how they prepare the actors, and they were talking about, it's like Sigourney Weaver didn't come until later, and also the guy who played the corporate guy with a pen and pencil from the Space Corp. They weren't, but the guys who played the Colonial Space Marines, they were like running around like this studio, and they were all like, dressed as Marines and carrying their armor and fake weapons and stuff and pulse rifles and so they were just trying to and they had actual trainers, special operations people training them, and the guy who played Sergeant Apone was he was actually in the military, so he was military officer, so he, or at least I don't know if he was actually a sergeant in the military, but he was in the military, so he was like comfortable taking command of like a military squad. But they were running around training, and and then Sigourney Weaver came in like at the last moment, and so but they wanted her to be like separate, because she wasn't like with the military, so it kind of worked in the way very well in that movie. But yes, as far as what the command structure would be, I mean, I think the main problem with the military and an invasion would be, the aliens would probably take out the command and control first, when they target the capital cities. And then, the rest of the military would have to just kind of muddle through whoever's left after their initial attack would have to muddle through, and then so would all the hospitals and so would all the civilians,
Yeah, but there's enough redundancy in the command structure in our military. Not everything is in a big open glass building marked headquarters, and there's
if you target Washington D.C., you'll take out a large portion of it, so.
Well, remember they took down the Pentagon in 9/11, and our military was still operational. So that's a good example of some of our redundancies built in. Another thing you have to look at, for example, in the Marine Corps, every Marine is taught to be a leader. Now, just because that Lance Corporal is low on the totem pole, he's not an officer, he's not a captain or a major, whatnot. He doesn't have the leadership training that a captain or major has, or the experience. He's still taught to be a leader. Every Marine is taught to lead. So when the top guy gets killed, the next guy takes over. And when he gets killed, the next guy takes over, and on and on and on. The other thing is all the veterans that are out there. Think of all the veterans that have got experience that would take charge. They would, I mean, there's enough guys with
society,
enough, that
there are, but I mean, you got to realize in such a situation, when their society would devolve into sheer utter chaos. I mean, a biological attack, no internet, no communications, no phones, no, you can't go and get food or swipe, your credit card to do anything, no banking. I mean, a lot of these things would happen with just one EMP from North Korea in outer space, with no grid. I mean, and especially if there's a biological attack and the hospitals get overwhelmed, you could it would be just, society would devolve into sheer chaos. I mean, we'd need a lot of leaders to just deal with it. Just regular
What if we had
people.
What if we had to ally ourselves with ISIS and North Korea in order to fight off the aliens?
I don't think ISIS is going to be much help. Or North Korea, I mean, other than they have some really cool, I've seen their cool helical AK mags, but, I'm probably going to be using my bolt action so I can stay as far away from the aliens as possible, set off as many binary explosive charges.
What if the aliens were like ISIS? What if they had perverted their religion and they came to our planet and it was convert or die, and they started executing the infidels?
Well, so whatever civilian leadership survives the initial attack might, try and cut a deal with the aliens, like either, what do you want? We'll just give it to you, or we'll surrender, unconditionally, to stop killing us, they might try and cut a deal, but the aliens might just not be interested in that, or maybe they will. I don't know. You have to figure out a way to communicate with them or their robots, so that would be a whole nother thing. How do you talk to a robot, that from an alien planet, I have no idea. You would have to get it into you'd have to hack their communication system. So obviously Russian hackers might come in handy, I guess, Russia might be more of use than anybody else, since they have the most nuclear missiles on the planet.
I wonder how much of a capability we have to aim any of our weapons at something in space. As far as I know, they're just designed to go up and come back down. They're not They're not.
Well, you can change the targeting on any nuclear missile, pretty easily. One would think, I mean, we may concentrate on reentry vehicles, but maybe we don't need to reenter if they do monitor, everything that's in orbit around the planet Earth. So I'm sure, and there are definitely, kinetic weapons to, for anti-satellite warfare that most major countries have worked on,
Well, I would think even if you were able to alter the guidance programming and just say no, just keep going, don't arc and release your payload. Those warheads, I don't know that they would be triggered the same way in space that they would hitting something on the ground, or in some of those warheads are designed to burrow underground before they detonate. They don't have anything to trigger them to activate the fuse. Or
I think a lot of nuclear weapons are set for airburst. Anyway, over the target.
Some are airburst, and some burrow into the ground. I want to say, was it the Pershing that burrows into the ground?
I thought the Pershing was just an intermediate range nuclear missile that was temporarily deployed during, the Cold War and then withdrawn. And
I don't even think the Pershings are active anymore. One of them was designed to burrow into the ground or something before it detonated. I just can't remember which one. But yeah, still, what triggers that? I don't know if it just uses a simple radio lobe and it goes off, or if there's some sort of proximity fuse.
Basically, I think what we've discovered so far is that what you should do is report to your local military base if it hasn't been destroyed, and see if they'll upgrade your weapons. Say give us something to fight the aliens with, and maybe they'll give you like something full auto or a rocket launcher, and say, yeah, the aliens have invaded. Yeah, here, take something, start shooting, or maybe they'll draft you and give you, free biochem gear, they'll just be like,
once
okay.
Again, your veterans come into play at that point. Yeah, they won't remember everything, but they'll remember enough, or they'll be able to learn it really fast, or some things just come right back to you. So this large pool of veterans that we have in the country, despite the fact that the country might be in shambles, this large pool of veterans we have to draw on, okay, maybe they're not in such good shape or this, that, or the other, but it doesn't really matter. The fact that they've got some experience, that's going to be a lot better than, handing a gun to somebody who's never pulled the trigger before. So
yeah, I'm not a veteran, but I am trigger happy. So I had a lot of fun at the range yesterday. There was like a range incident, where I said, range safe, and then somebody didn't hear and started shooting, and had some ricochets about 20 yards near me, but nobody got hurt. And the guy who was shooting kind of like was very shaky. He just because he realized he almost shot somebody. I don't know how he could miss sig me. I mean, maybe he was just looking through his scope, but I mean, I was wearing my blaze orange, hunting vest. It's like a big guy, it's hard to miss me, His wife definitely.
Taking somebody's life, whether on purpose or an accident, is not an easy thing to do. But if you had to fight aliens, unless they looked like humans, it would probably be a lot. There would be people who couldn't kill another person who could kill an alien. So,
oh yeah, but
like
the aliens are gonna feel the exact same way about humans. They're gonna think we're aliens. So, and that was the whole thing that was that they made the big deal about. Like when you watch the Wrath of Khan, it's like those fucking scientists. They want us to find a planet that doesn't have one spore of life of any kind on it. And they would search every planet, and every planet would always have like one microbe on it or something. Like, nope, we can't use this planet, and they're like, and it just seemed like these scientists were unreasonable when you think about it. If you want aliens coming to your planet and terraforming it, with one torpedo to make it suitable for them, with something called the Genesis wave, maybe they have a Genesis torpedo, in case there's no way to fight that. So just, one massive weapon that.
That wouldn't work either. No, because they use proto matter, and that's what caused the whole thing to unravel and rapidly destroy the planet. So,
Well, yeah, that was in the movie. The theory didn't work, but what they were, it was. I thought it was just the interesting point that they were actually trying to find a planet without any other life form. So, but anyway, I won't get into the Star Trek nerd talk too deeply. I did want to apologize that we don't have any external chat. The last time I checked on YouTube.
yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
So yeah, it's like Google has been really funky lately, and YouTube. So you leave any comments if YouTube is going to let us do that in the section below, and I'll try and get to everybody's. So I think, yeah, in a lot of senses, just as far as the only way you can actually prep is just by being a prepper, and having all the normal stuff that preppers do: a bug out plan, a bug out place, know where your military bases are, and whatever weapons you're legally allowed to own, learn how to use them and effectively, and have water filtration, maybe a gas mask and a few extra filters. Biochem suit. I don't have one of those, but might be on my list soon. And I'm going to be actually going up to the volcano, looking for some bug out property, looking at some lots in the jungle. Get the back of a subdivision up there, and so I'm going to bring my parang and my camelback mule and a compass, so I don't get lost in the jungle, because it all looks alike. So, and I'll be posting some video of me hiking around there. I'm gonna either go tomorrow, Tuesday or Wednesday, up there, and it's some pretty thick, hairy bush up there, jungle. It's like the ferns are like very, very thick, and it's Hia forest up on a active volcano, and I was talking to G-Webs about it last night, and I was like, he thought, well, you could just, looking at the map, well, you could just walk through the forest, walk through the jungle, and wind up at the ocean. And it's like, no, you have to cross an active lava flow. There's crevasses. You could fall into it. The earth could give way underneath you, and you could fall into a lava pool. It's kind of a very deadly place to try and go hiking, across an active lava flow. But I was thinking the best way, if you wanted, I told him, it's just looking at the map. It's like, yeah, as the crow flies, it's, I don't know, 10 miles to the ocean, but yeah, it's like, it's not something like that from the back of the property. But the only way you could actually do it safely would be like the Sky Captain and Mad Max, and buy yourself an ultralight and then just fly over the jungle, and so personally, I'm not too much of a pilot, but you could definitely fly over the jungle, and of course, I don't know where you would land, and be able to take off again. Hawaii you have to respect the forces, the power and force of nature on a place like the Big Island of Hawaii, because if you don't, it'll kill you. And there won't be anything left for the aliens to kill that way. So, but so I'm going to be checking out some bug out vacant lots up there at the back of the subdivision, one of the subdivisions, and hiking up through a little bit of jungle, and try and shoot some video of that. I have some video to post of my Camelback mule hydration bag review, and I was shooting it at the range, and I did talk about it earlier. All right. Anything else we need to cover, do you think? I mean, it just seems like all the basic, bug out stuff, communications, with it, how to communicate with people. You might need some radio technology, capabilities might be useful. Just all your standard, prepping stuff. I mean, it's going to be hard if the society breaks down. You're going to need clean water. Just all the basic, regular stuff, plus, just protection against biochemical attacks from, technologically advanced enemy. But gas masks and radiation suits gas masks and just biochem suits will work, you know. So I think I'll be try and stock up on some filters, and I'll go look on Sportsman Guys to see if they have any biochem suits that aren't too cheap. Do they have those in the military? Did you ever train with biochem suits, or just the gas mask drill?
No, sometimes we train with the suits. I think they just did it to make us miserable because all you do is sweat, and then you get all that charcoal powder from the inside of the lining of the suit all over you, and it makes you itch, and the sweat just makes it worse and stuff. You've got to put it on in overlapping layers, and you have to tie. You got the rubber boots, and you have to tie everything off so that they stay on and everything stays sealed, and you know they're not quite as bad as Mickey Mouse boots as far as walking around, but yeah, you're just hot and miserable. I mean, it sure beats being dead, but
yeah, you don't get to without any electricity, you won't be able to stay in an air conditioned room that's filtered by NBC protection filters on it. Unfortunately, most likely, you're lucky to have electricity. So yeah, with this particular location,
that would be something.
Yeah,
wouldn't the aliens home in on that? If you ran a generator, wouldn't they home in on that?
Well, what if you had solar? That would be harder to home in on, wouldn't it? Because it's just battery powered storage. You know, that'd be harder to see. Just
So they don't know if it's active or not. It could be an abandoned house, or it might not, right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of solar panels everywhere. There's solar panels like everywhere now. It's not like it's pretty common. You know, it's not like it'd be, oh, there's a solar panel, let's go check it out. No, it's like everybody's house has a solar panel almost, and at least in some parts. And
right. But if they hear a generator running, you know.
Okay. By the way, that brings up my dad's generator. It was just a loose wire. That wire had come loose and wasn't hooked up inside the engine or something. So they just had to resolder an iron and it worked. So yeah, I just told my dad to put it put the just to test it, once a month, fire it up once a month to make sure it's working, and but he had somebody come down and they figured out it was just a loose wire. So, and you said it should be on the concrete, but my dad's generator is on wheels and on rubber. It has rubber feet on one end, and you pick up that end, and the other end are the wheels. So you can like wheelbarrow it to where you need it to be. So I don't think he needs to put the wheels on a piece of wood, because if it's got rubber feet and wheels, I mean, it's not just sitting on the concrete like you guys warned about a couple weeks ago.
You sure somebody wasn't just talking about batteries sitting on concrete?
No, we were talking about when my dad's generator, when the electricity went out in the neighborhood in my dad's house in California. His generator didn't start up, so he wasn't happy, and then he had to, have somebody come down and try and figure it out for him, because it weighs 400 pounds or something, and he's 70 something, and he didn't have the strength to lift 400-pound generator into the car and drive it down to Home Depot. And even though it was still under warranty, had to pay somebody to come out and figure it out, because they're pretty hard for a 76-year-old guy to lift with a bad back. My dad has a bad disc. But anyway, I miss not being able to go into the comments and see what everybody's saying. I don't know why YouTube disabled the chat for live streams, but there's been a lot of funky stuff. I did want to say I put a link in the for anybody that's in Hawaii to the Hawaii Free Press about an article how you can take action on an anti-gun bill that's going to be voted on this week in the Senate, and if you live in Hawaii, you can help out, do some Second Amendment activism by clicking on the Hawaii Free Press article that is in the video description, and send a letter to your representative. They have like a form letter, and I added a paragraph of my own thoughts, but I know my particular representative is a real idiot, so he will just not listen. But if they get like 1,000 responses or something, I'm just doing my bit, and so if you live in Hawaii, you may want to just send something, or just send the form letter, just you have to type in your name and address. It's an NRA legislative action, link that's in the article. So you click on the article, you read the article, you click on the link, the NRA, and it's got, you just type in your address and zip code and name, and it'll fill out a letter and mail it to your email to your Hawaii legislature representative in the Senate, and let you be active and let them know that you're against the bill. They have a gun confiscation bill, so where the article explains it all, but another one of those. Hawaii gets used as a petri dish for every harebrained gun control concept that the Brady campaign can come up with, in the 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, let's try this in Hawaii. They'll vote for anything. And they literally will. Our Senate is a bunch of left-wing anti-constitutionalists. But anyway, so check out that link if you live in Hawaii. If you have any other ideas, please post on how to fight alien invasion from outer space. Please let us know, because this is our planet. We intend to keep it that way. All right. Again, I'm sorry about the chat being disabled. I have no idea why. Let's see. Is anybody type anything in on Gun Channel side? Let me take a quick look. Offer up the Kardashians for trade. No, and well, we aren't. I don't know how to, Dano. I don't know how to fight them in outer space. On the subject of, let's see what else. Since Dano made a comment, I don't know if he's still listening. I see Dusty's out there, but he didn't come in this week for the chat. But he's out there on the Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a free, absolutely free internet Second Amendment activism, and gun community kind of website. So you can check that out. It's free to join. Gunchannels.com/HVS is where my text chat is for these chats. I did want to say that there was a rumor as far as any silver bugs or gold bugs out there. There's a rumor that I saw on the internet over the weekend that the London Bullion Market Association is like packing it in. They're not going to be setting spot prices anymore. So important economic stuff coming up is we have the debt ceiling. On the 15th, the Fed is going to have their, basically decided to raise interest rates by 1/4 point, I guess. And on the 16th, the day after that, is the debt ceiling. The Congress will either approve the debt ceiling or they won't approve the debt ceiling increase. And then if they don't approve it, everything will come to a complete halt. The world will stop spinning economically anyway, because our entire economic system is built on debt-based fiat currency. So they don't keep it going, then I'll be able to trade silver for howitzers, or I could buy my own tank with a little bit of silver. And I would like to have a tank to fight aliens with, So I don't know if I'll need a special permit from the police department for a tank, but they don't allow cannons here unless you're in the military. So, I think that they will take out the internet though, and basically targeting the capital cities will, if they take out New York and Washington and Los Angeles and other major metropolitan cities can definitely, will take out a lot of internet hubs, that would, pretty much kill the internet as far as being able to, do any banking, stock market stuff, or transactions of any kind. So it doesn't take much. One EMP over the mainland, and shit will go to hell. I mean, but by that I mean, it'll be a grid down situation. And so I would just say, if you're a prepper out there, keep on prepping. This is just not one scenario to consider among others. And I had a lot of fun thinking about, what to do. But I think the main thing that I was not prepared for was biological attack, from an advanced some kind of biological attack warfare organism was engineered by advanced alien technological race. But just remember that whoever you're fighting is going to be their technology. Even if you're just fighting their robots, their technology is going to could be just exponentially superior to human technology, because we've only been here for 1 billion years, and there could be races that are much older. Humans haven't been around for that long, as an evolved species, and I just hope we're around long enough, that we have like places like gun channels, and there's still a free place like America, so it's worth fighting for. It's worth beating up on the aliens, when they come to try and keep. And it's our planet, so let's try and keep it. And not sure what the topic will be for next week. Is there anything we need to add on this? Did we kill all the aliens in this chat? Squid.
Oh, I was just reading about a movie I remember where the aliens' weapons worked off of copper. And at the end of the film, they had to turn the aliens' weapons on them, and they needed copper for ammunition. And the kid had a penny in his pocket. He was given some sort of, I don't know, collectible coin, an old penny as a gift. And they're fumbling around and says, "Does anybody have a penny?" And the one Marine says, "Sir, we don't normally take change into combat." And the kid pulls out this penny, and they put it in the ray gun, and they were able to use it to destroy the alien spaceship. So you might want to hold on to your copper if you have any copper. Might need that.
Yeah, I used to have a whole collection of pennies. I had like a half a Sparklets bottle full of them, but when my place burned down in Malibu, there wasn't anything left. And I think somebody came through with eventually with a tractor to just haul the ashes and junk away, because it was a hazard of it was just ashes that was left when my place in Malibu burned down when I got back there. And I remember that being an emotional moment when they came in with like a tractor to just pick up all the crap and just the dust and the ashes and just dump them into a dumpster or a dump truck and haul them away to a dump, because I was like, well, wait, that's my stuff. But but it was just ashes, really. The only thing that survived was a Bowflex machine. It wasn't the Bowflex machine did survive, just like the right angle was all that was left. So I took that to my new rental, and I had rented a place on the beach because the Red Cross gave me a voucher. They give you vouchers. They give you a voucher for like a hotel room for a couple nights, some clothes, some clothes shop, a voucher to some place that sold me a new bed and mattress, and I just give them a Red Cross voucher and they cover it. And so whatever the Red Cross doesn't get from donations, the government, FEMA just underwrites the check at the end of the day, actually. And they also gave me rent for a rental on a rental. And I found a rent. I was lucky enough to find a rental because they all dried up really quick because there are all these rich homeless people in Malibu all of a sudden. And so the rentals that were available didn't last for long. But I got one on the beach, and so under the place that I was staying, like on the beach underneath the apartment that I rented, it was like a bottom level duplex. There was this metal, part of the metal right angle of a Bowflex machine underneath it, and I think it's still there. I didn't take it when I moved out of there. So off on, I think that was on Big Rock and Pacific Coast Highway. Anyway, so I'm headed off to the jungle tomorrow, and I'll try and shoot some video. I haven't posted any non-chat videos in a while. Sorry about that. I blame my sore foot, on the delay. So I apologize, and I have some video to upload that I will be editing together and posting on the Camelback meal hydration bag. And like I said, I'm going up to the volcano, hike around the jungle tomorrow, and with my parang, and I'm going to talk to a real estate guy up there who lives up there. One time what's really weird and really cool is that I remember driving back over the volcano from when I first moved from Kapoho on the east tip of Hawaii. There's a place called Kapoho, and I lived there for about a couple years. And then I moved to Honaunau on this side of the island. And coming over the volcano at night, there was this, it was like this, there was this volcanic fog. And it was like, it was very thick, dense. It had kind of a sulfuric smell to it, but it was like, regular ground fog, except it was really high. It was like over the car, my Blazer. And so basically, if you had your lights on, and it was night, so you have to have your lights on if you're driving, or there wouldn't be anything. It'd be totally dark because there's no street lamps at all up on the volcano. So when on the way, as soon as I crested the top of the volcano past Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and started going down, there was just really thick volcanic fog, and you could kind of smell a little bit of the sulfur. But if you turn on your brights, it was like you would be totally blind. So you just had your headlights on low, and you could kind of see, and it was just really, space. It was really like prehistoric kind of a fog that you drive. So it's really unusual up there on top of the volcano. It's Hawaii is a lot of microclimates, and up there on the volcano is one of them. And it's just, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I'm going to camp out there overnight in the jungle, but I don't know, I might. But I'm going to go up there, hike around, and talk to the real estate guy up there, and he actually lives up there. I'll just try and pump him for information. I might stay up there a night. I don't know. I'll see how I feel tomorrow. I feel like setting up a camp. So it might be in the middle of the week before I actually put out any more videos. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and if you made it through this chat, hey, thank you a lot. And check out Gun Channels. If you're in Hawaii, hit that link and from the Hawaii Free Press, and go to the Take Legislative NRA Take Legislative Action button page there, and they'll help you send a letter to your Hawaii representative and the state legislature here. It really only works. It's, if you have a Hawaii address and you're registered to vote. If you're not registered, they won't even pay attention to you. But they know if you send them a letter with your name, if you're registered or not. They're professional politicians. That's the only thing they do right, is if you send them a letter, they know if you're registered, to vote. Because then you matter to them. I mean, even though this is a deep blue state, it helps if they know that there's some pro-gun people out here, even if they're, complete left-wing losers, for lack of a better word. All right. God bless America. Thanks to all my friends all over the world and preppers and all the military people, present and past. Thanks for fighting for America. And stay strong, keep going, and God is watching over us. See you next week.
See ya.
Yep.